Hello?
Hi, you got a minute?
Yeah, what?
Where are you driving?
I'm driving. I'm going Cisco.
You got about, what, 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, this is going to be episode 11, and we're going to talk about Star Wars, The Last Jedi.
Did you go see it?
Yes, I saw it.
What'd you think?
I don't understand how anybody was bitching about that, saying it wasn't good. That was fucking incredible. Incredible.
I think the biggest problem was that The Force Awakens really built upon this. There's this deeper connection that the girl, Rey, had some kind of connection to Luke or to the Force and to Kylo Ren. Like, you're expecting to hear what her origin is and the why, and it ended up being a really big letdown because all Kylo says is, "Oh, your parents are nobody." I still don't believe it. I think they are siblings. I know that sounds crazy because, like, you never hear anything from the potential parents mentioning having another child, but I think, or Luke Skywalker alluding to his sibling being killed or assumed killed. So my theory may be wrong based on those things, but I don't know.
I think you're wrong.
It seems like there's some kind of weird connection there.
I think that it was a little odd, like, okay, so Luke Skywalker, he's got the relationship thing with Darth Vader and but Darth Vader started off the same way too. Like, we never figured out who his father was, right?
Yeah, we never figured out who his father was.
Okay, so it's not imperative that everybody has to have, a parental
I get it.
backstory.
It's a big fucking galaxy. Everybody's not fucking related. I get it.
So, I think the reason that people were so fucking upset is because there was so much speculation before this one, and nothing anybody thought was going to happen really happened, So. Well,
I do find it really weird that they had this foreshadowing and how, like, there was a weird connection between her and Luke's saber and all that, and then, like, you set up this big thing, and then she hands the thing to him, and he tosses it over his shoulder like it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Like, it was really weird that she had this connection. Like, where, like, she had memories that weren't even her memories and shit like that. It kind of, like, I don't know, like, came to her immediately. But, again, they did allude to the fact that she was once on that island. So I can only assume she was at least one of the children that were supposed to be getting trained or something. Because why would she have been to that island before?
Well, if that is the case, if she had been at that island, then old Swizzle Dizzle, what's his name, the bad guy?
Kylo.
Yeah.
Ren.
He would have known that. He would have immediately been like, yeah, when we were kids, you remember it was crazy and we were doing that Jedi shit.
Well, maybe it was a lie on purpose to try to manipulate her to say, like, her parents were nobody. But even, let's say her parents were nobody or whatever. Well, that doesn't change that she was there, that she was chosen, that she's special. Obviously, she is special. She has raw power, as it was described,
Yeah. Well, maybe there will be more about that, and maybe
there should.
I think that they intentionally made this one to kind of upset people for some reason. I don't know. I think there's an angle there because it was deliberate. Even not only was it kind of the publicity, the build up, to the movie was supposed to go one direction and it didn't. But, like, in the movie, you think that Kylo Ren is going to turn, like, good. You do, because he has the opportunity to shoot Leia from his spaceship.
He chooses not to, and then he takes out his master.
Right, so you think he's gonna turn good, and then he fucking doesn't. And then also with the girl, what's her name, Ray, right?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like she's gonna go fucking bad, like for sure, and then she doesn't. So I mean, like,
no, there's nothing more. I like these twists. I'm totally okay with these twists.
I liked it.
I don't know if that's what the big complaint is. I don't think a lot of people are. I think those twists are good. I think the biggest letdown was a lot of the build up to the prior movie just didn't nothing. Kind of a lot of them were dead ends as far as, you know, plot lines and stuff like that. And I think that's what's most upsetting to, you know, you give an introduction to a story and then you don't follow through with any of it. Like you don't keep the continuity of the story of those storylines within the movie. I think that was probably the biggest complaint.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's a fair critique, but I mean, the overwhelming hate just kind of screams, you know, I just feel like they're hipsters. They're like Star Wars hipsters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, 'cause there was a lot of like really weird stuff that I liked just because I thought it was funny. Like when it, you know, he has his entire barrage of guys fire on Luke all at once, and then he comes out of there and he brushes his shoulder off. It's like, oh.
Yeah, but I mean the ending to Luke was kind of a little weak.
He maxed himself out.
I get it, he maxed himself out using all that force. Why didn't he just pull that goddamn ship out of the water and go there in person and do an admiration from like fucking 100 yards away?
He was able to be more powerful the way that he did it than if he'd have shown up. Like if he'd have shown up in a physical form, he'd have been cut down way quicker and wouldn't have been able to buy them as much time to get to the Millennium Falcon to fly away.
My point is, instead of doing it from a galaxy away, I think if you would have done it from like, you know, 1,000 feet away,
the other side of a rock.
Fucking, yeah, you would think then it wouldn't mean that he would have to die or whatever. I get it. It was impressive. I got it. I totally, like, I think a lot of people didn't appreciate what happened exactly, what he did, but I mean, was it necessary for it to be done that way? Was it necessary for him to die? I get it. They want to, the whole thing is, oh, well, the idea is it's the end of his time and stuff like that. But it was really weird for his character to change the way it did. It's like, here you go, you got a guy who starts off in a story, he's parentless, he's living with his aunt and his uncle, they get murdered, then he finds his destiny, it seems, and he does all these things, and he's like a positive thing throughout the entire story of the first trilogy. And then the second you get to him finally, it's like he's a totally different person. It's because things didn't work out. And it's like, that's weird. That's not really of his norm character. It just didn't quite make sense.
I don't know. I get it, because so Luke Skywalker never completed his training. So he's not gonna be like Yoda or any of those other like badass
I mean,
Jedis that were.
He found it. He found those books. I mean, he had the text to learn from that. You know, that any of those guys could have gotten. You know what I mean?
Okay, so my point is Luke Skywalker was always a loose cannon. Like, he never finished his training. He always did what he wanted, and then he didn't have any guidance from anybody else because everybody else was fucking gone. So
I thought the idea of the movie, The Return of the Jedi, was that he finished his training.
Well, he didn't finish. Well, oh, you might be right. Did he go back? Did he go back and finish training?
Look, yeah, he left in The Empire Strikes Back in the middle of his training. and then he goes back, and then the next scene is the start of the movie of Return of the Jedi as he goes to get Han Solo, and then he goes back and he sees the thing is, I think after The Empire Strikes Back, I thought it was insinuated that he went back and trained more with Yoda, and then he went to find Han Solo and get him out of carbonite.
Yeah, carbonite.
And then he went back and he visited him and that's when Yoda died.
Well, I mean, did he die? He just kind of changed forms.
He died.
He just kind of changed forms.
Oh, change form. Well, does anything really die?
Exactly.
Okay, let's get really weird and deep. The energy still exists and so on and so forth. Okay, whatever. But he physically died.
Yeah, he died. He was old as fuck. He died.
Yeah, he died. He went and saw him. He fucking fell asleep. And he never woke up.
Yeah, that's how Yoda died. And you're saying that Luke Skywalker's transition to death was less dramatic?
Yeah, I guess it was kind of weird. There are some things I've read about. Well, it was an interesting point. He's sitting there looking at the double dusk, thing with the two suns, which was the same vision he had when he started his journey in episode 4.
I'm incredibly impressed by your recall of all these facts. I mean, that was
well,
totally...
I've been reading about it because everybody's been like combing through, like every detail of the movies. But yeah, I remember that scene. Whenever I wrote about it and saw it online, I was like, yeah, there are some cool little Easter eggs and connections to the originals.
Yeah. Okay, so aside from all that
I have a question now. Liz, the prediction question. So do you think there's going to be like a weird like romance spin to Kylo Ren and Rey because of the fact that they chose to put in there where they make a connection and he's like shirtless and then she's like, can you put a shirt on? Like
a towel. She said towel. Get your facts right. She said towel.
Huh?
She said towel.
Towel, whatever. Put something on. Cover himself. Like, yeah, because it made her uncomfortable. Didn't make her uncomfortable just because she's not.
I don't know. I
thought it was weird to make a point to have that.
I really, really dislike that character just because he's such a whiny bitch. My daddy.
I liked him better. I liked him better in this episode.
He's still a whiny
I liked
bitch.
Kylo Ren more in this episode for sure. He was a lot less a whiny baby.
So
I kind of really feel like they really went Anakin prequels style with his character. You know what I mean? I think I wish those prequels didn't even exist because they're pretty horrible.
They're fucking
and some
terrible.
of the character stuff
they need to redo
with
those.
Anakin wasn't great.
They should redo those the same way they did, like they redid Spider-Man. They need to just redo it totally. Fucking rip it down, start over. So and
Dude,
they might do it. I could see them doing that.
I saw an article where there was an argument that the prequels were way better than that was talking about the prequels being more whatever, I guess, true to the story than these new ones. Anyways, and somebody was like, the prequels are so much better than this movie, and I was like, oh my god, anybody that thinks episode 2 is better than this movie is totally discredited.
Yeah.
You just shut up. Your opinion fucking doesn't matter at all.
Hey everybody, look at this guy. Make fun of him. Alright, so my only gripe with continuity as far as Kylo Ren goes, whenever he steps on the scene, he is stopping blaster fire. He's freezing lasers in the air with his abilities. That is
super
amazing.
It is amazing.
But like after that, he doesn't demonstrate any more like strength as far as the Force goes. I guess you could argue that, but I thought that was amazing. Versus,
dude,
like, what?
He used the Force and manipulated a saber right next to his master beyond his knowledge.
Well,
that was a display of his power, of how he was able to manipulate his master with his Force and use and turn the saber towards him and turn it on like that. That was impressive. This is a person way beyond his years as far as experience and stuff like that with the the dark side and the Force.
I feel like that was more of a display of control of his, I guess, emotions or mind or whatever. But that dude, what's his name, Snoke or whatever? Is that right?
Snoke, yeah.
Yeah. So Snoke goes out the same way the Emperor does, because he's just so fucking full of shit. Like his ego is pumping as hard as it can pump right at the moment when he dies. So he's distracted by his own ego, and that's what gave Kylo Ren the opportunity.
I think it's hate.
Okay,
remember
fine.
how hateful he was,
hate.
And how emotionally full of hate the Emperor was at the time. He's like enjoying destroying Luke Skywalker, and he's like burning him, and fucking he's just like enjoying the hate, just like Snoke is sitting there, brows curled, fucking same thing.
But yeah, so anyway, he uses that opportunity, and you can tell he's kind of divided his attention. Like he's got his badass lightsaber like drawn above her head, and he's about to cut her down, and then very simply with his left hand, he's like rolling his fingers, you know. So he's doing two things at the same time, and that sick fucker is like he's focused on the hate that Kylo Ren is pushing on one half, and then he's totally disregarding anything else that's happening. So I don't feel like that was an extreme show of the Force. It was just Kylo Ren fucking, he did some cool shit.
He killed the guy.
He did kill him. He killed the shit out of him.
Yeah, he killed the guy. So he's obviously he's like a stud. Him and Rey are like, you know, studs with this Force. I mean, it's ridiculous how powerful they are. Just her being introduced to the concept, she started using it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Just barely being introduced to the concept. The Luke Skywalker, his closest thing to doing that was when he was doing his blocks with the helmet with the shield over his eyes that he couldn't see in New Hope, where, you know, he's getting zapped by the little ball that's floating around when Obi-Wan's trying to train him.
You're wrong. You're forgetting a pivotal moment. Hoth. You're forgetting about Hoth.
That was the earliest time that he used the Force as far as Skywalker by being introduced to the concept.
Okay, right. But
where he blocked it without being able to see.
What about Hoth?
On the second try.
What about Hoth?
Huh?
The ice planet fucker. He's hanging upside down, and he like gets his lightsaber and cuts up that fucking.
Dude, that's way later. That's in The Empire Strikes Back, the beginning scene. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm talking about the very first time he ever used anything related to the Force was that moment when he was training in the ship the Millennium Falcon, and he fucking blocks those lasers when he's training inside. And he just introduced him to the idea of the Force.
He blocked
I'm comparing that to the time that Rey, she was introduced to the concept of the Force and automatically used it at a much higher level.
What did she do?
She was much stronger.
What did she do?
With the Force.
What did she do?
Huh?
What did she do?
What'd she do? Let me remember. From The Force Awakens, she used it to when she was fighting fucking Kylo Ren. And they're fighting in the woods, I believe, is the first time she just started using the goddamn Force like she was a fucking pro. She was competing with him.
I need to go back
using
and watch
the
that
Force.
Have Have you seen it recently? Because I haven't seen it since it came out in theaters.
I haven't seen it since it came out, but I remember the way he used the Force and he stopped that laser, and the way she used the Force to fight back against him shortly after being introduced to the concept, just the concept of just what it is. Just being told, well, there's this Force around you.
Yeah.
You feel it and it's inside of you. It's a real thing. When Han Solo, who I thought, I was totally thinking he was her dad, because they were finishing each other's sentences. There's a connection there.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's why I was thinking that she was like their long lost daughter, and they had assumed that Kylo had struck her down along with the other students.
Yeah.
But apparently they've been scattered also, according to, Luke, because he said he killed a bunch of them and then he took a handful of them. So now it's like you don't know what happened to all of them. Before, it was like sold as if he killed them all.
Yeah.
In The Force Awakens. In which case I thought, okay, he killed them all, but maybe he sent his younger sibling away.
Yeah.
And he assumes he'd never see her again, ever. And then, like, somehow Rey, finds her way into this story. That was my theory.
Well, I think you're a severe cinephile, and you know way too much about this shit, and I'm not going to be able to effectively argue about this. I thought it was amazing. So
I thought it was good. I thought it was a good movie, but I think, it was a little disappointing that they didn't, keep continuity with some of the plot lines in the Force Awakens. And I love the Force Awakens. And I say fuck all the people that say, oh, it was too much like New Hope. It was like a regurgitation of the exact same. Yeah, well, things happen in cycles, and no, it wasn't a regurgitation exactly. It was most certainly different. Okay? So
there were some similarities. Some big ones.
there was definitely similarities, which I'm okay with. Like I said, things happen in cycles. That's the way of the real world. And that's okay that there are similarities there. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the way it really is.
Yeah.
The fact that everybody got all butthurt about that and we're like, oh, this movie's terrible. They're fucking stupid. Because how are you going to go from watching the original trilogy, which is amazing, then watching the horrible trilogy of the prequels, and then get all butthurt over A Force Awakens? Like, who are these people? They're idiots.
Cody, I gotta wrap this up, man. I'm almost at the job site, but I'll holler at you later.
All right. Later.
Bye.
Bye.